the one advice I got early on in my career was to volunteer in things that I felt really passionately about, and that the work would follow. So I would work alongside like-minded people in volunteer positions, and then those people would become contacts for future, you know, work. And it has worked out that way really well. So I guess my advice to everyone is to try to give back to your community as much as you can, because it actually really does benefit you, not just from the feel good part, but people will chip in. I was part of a women's group when I first started the company, a women's networking group. And when I got laid off and started my company, those women rallied around me so hard, found me all kinds of weird little jobs to do because they were the community I had built. So I think it's really important, when times are a little wiggly, to, don't everybody go home to your house and play video games all night by yourself. Try to get out and meet people and stay social, because that's really important to keeping not only your mental health, but your workflow coming in the door. I think that's been,
Yeah.
True for my whole 25 years.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Jennifer Wetterman, who is the chief architect and one of the principals at Wedderman Architecture. And I'm always excited to have someone who's a little bit kind of a different space. We've had a lot of builders on the show. We haven't had a lot of architects. And so I'm excited to dive into it with Jennifer here today. Jennifer, let's start with this. My question's always the same. Let's tell us a little bit about who you are and about your company as well.
Sure. I'm a licensed architect. Been licensed for 25 years. I started Wetterman Architecture 15 years ago. We're actually having an anniversary party in a couple of weeks to celebrate 15 years of being in business. And I have been designing stuff since I was a little kid. And recently I actually have expanded my metal art side of the business into a construction company. So I have a small construction company for about a year and a half now called Moral Compass. So I kind of represent both ends of the big picture of a construction project.
Well, tell us about how you started the company. What gave birth to the idea? Was there, an initial client? Like, tell us a bit about the history of the company.
Sure. I got laid off. The good old-fashioned way, necessity. Well, I started the company in basically '09 because the economy was making things difficult for architects. And I think a lot of bigger firms looked at architecture with this very elitist sort of a lens. And I wanted to help people with whatever they had going on. If they needed to figure out how to navigate the permitting office for an existing non-conforming structure, or if they just had little tiny things, zoning studies or whatever to do. I was not above any of that, and I didn't feel like architects should be. So I wanted to create a firm with the mentality of helping people, and that was first and foremost in my mind. I also wanted to have something that was, dependable, and I am the most dependable person I know. So that's kind of why it all started. And I wanted to have a small firm where people could be creative, but also not feel any pressure to have a strict 9 to 5 job. We have a very flexible schedule for people here. They don't have to work 40 hours a week. They can, go off and have a baby the first month they work here and know they have a job to come back to. It's kind of been a very welcoming environment for a lot of different people. And as a woman and a mom in the profession, that was something that I felt like was really missing in the traditional architectural firm scene.
I love that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what your clients today. What is there a niche? Is there a specialty? Have you guys found a certain kind of market that you really do well with?
Yeah, I think housing is always kind of the go-to in this area. Tacoma's booming, and mostly in the residential scene, people are trying to add units to their property. The city just changed the zoning code to allow more density all over the city. Anywhere you have a residential zone, you're now allowed to build more than just your traditional house. So we're helping people create, immediate income with their properties, and we're helping create generational wealth for their kids, because a lot of people are leaving a home to their kids, and hopefully an ADU as an additional income source as well. So we're helping a lot of people navigate what they're allowed to build and then how to get it done.
All right. Well, what makes you guys unique? If you're sitting down with a client and they're interviewing you and other, architects, what's your kind of value prop that you kind of distinguish yourselves on?
I guess we talk to them like people. We understand that this is probably the biggest expense in their life is designing their dream home or doing a tenant improvement for the business they just started a year ago or whatever. It's usually a construction project represents the biggest source of stress in a person's life, and we remember that every line we draw is representing dollars out of their pocket. So we take that to heart. We kind of think of ourselves as the like on their side. We're their champions, and we help them find honest contractors. We help them navigate permitting, language that's foreign to them. And I don't think a lot of architects handhold the way we do. We don't ever leave somebody hanging out to dry to figure anything out on their own. We want to see them succeed. I think that's pretty
What was
important.
out of curiosity, just to give the audience a sense of the size of your company, what was like overall sales or top line or however you want to kind of split it
Oh,
up?
right. Well, we're 12 people. We hit a gross of 1 million last year for the first time, so that was a proud moment. And we kind of all the money stays in the company. I hope to maybe move to an employee-owned model one day. I think that would be really nice for people that are in the field that don't have the connections I've been lucky to have throughout my life, be able to benefit from them after I'm gone. So that's the goal.
What are some sticking points right now, Jennifer, that you feel like you're trying to solve inside the company or outside the company? What are some kind of barriers you're trying to overcome?
Oh, yeah. Well, the economy is a little scary, I think, for a lot of people right now. And people are definitely not calling us up for every little thing like they used to. Over the last couple of months, I've seen a little dip. So that's scary. But we navigated COVID and didn't lay off a single person. So I kind of feel like I have to remind myself that we have figured it out before. We will again. But yeah, just having the work coming in the door is always a stressor. Having enough work for people to do that's designy and not just permit driven or keeping the work as fun as possible for people that like to design. Because when you're in this field, generally you got into it because you like to design stuff. So it's hard to. It just we want to help people with all the pre-approved ADUs and things that they can pick up drawings for at the city. But we also want to. I want to keep the fun stuff coming in the door, so I keep the good designers I have as long as possible.
Does it direct to consumer, or do you guys have referral partners like contractors or
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah. We do a lot of. I probably guess about half our work comes from contractors. Sometimes directly, like we try not to work directly for contractors because the contract is a little weird that way. We like to work directly for the landowner, ideally, because they have skin in the game if things went sideways. But we do get a lot of work from contractors. I think probably because we are responsive in construction, so we get a lot of immediate questions. Like we have one project for the Little Theater right now, doing a large bathroom addition to expand their toilet rooms, and that contractor, he's a wonderful guy, but he's a little green, and so sometimes he has a little trouble reading our drawings or figuring out, oh, this says 6 inches, but I think I'm going to need to do 8 here. Is that okay? And just immediate questions constantly on the fly, and we're always happy to answer and get him back on track as quickly as possible to keep the schedule going because they have a show to open next month, so that's a real deadline.
tell us about one of the more fun projects you've done over the last year? Is there something that comes to mind in terms of a really fun design or project that you worked on?
Well, I have two. I guess my favorite project right now is in construction for a 6,000 square foot counseling office center up in Graham. That's my favorite because it's going to impact the most people in the most positive way. I think from a social standpoint, that project brings me a lot of joy that we finally got it to happen because the county gave us a real uh, difficult process when we went to permit it, even though there was an existing center there and we were just tripling it in size. They made us go through a conditional use permit and non-conforming this and that. It was kind of a long road. So it's just I feel like a good success story that we got to where we are. But my favorite project I'm working on is, like, from a design standpoint, is my container home that I'm building for myself out in Hoodsport. I'm just using 3 shipping containers and it's almost done. So it looks pretty cool. And we're just about to paint it and wrap up the finished electrical stuff. And then I can actually stay out there and wake up with the deer and bunnies in the morning.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about AI for a second. How do you feel like it's shaping your guys' industry?
It's kind of, I keep wondering when it's going to hit us a little harder because right now we use it a lot for writing proposals. We have to put together a lot of statement of qualification documents, and for that, it's really great on that writing side. But I haven't seen its impact too much into the built environment yet, and I kind of wonder what that's going to look like because we can ask it. We can kind of ask it things like what material would be good for the south side of a building in Tacoma or something like that. And it can give us kind of information, but it's not really wowing me out. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen it do much for me yet. I think when it comes to design for people and the built environment, I don't know. I can't imagine how it's going to really work where I'd start replacing people with machines anytime soon.
So it sounds like you think eventually it will come into the actual design process, but so far you're not really seeing it.
Exactly. Yeah. I hope it doesn't anytime soon, honestly, because I really enjoy working with humans. I don't really want to sit in a room by myself and have it spit out, 12 times as much work. When that doesn't sound fun to me, but yeah.
What are some other areas of your business you feel like you could be using AI that you're not?
Um, that's a great question. I feel like on the construction side, that side would be, I probably would like to see it help us perform menial stuff a little bit more efficiently. Training people, for example, would be really nice if I could get more online training going that way, maybe. Because, I employ 8 people on that side as well that I got to keep busy. So keeping them all learning and growing is hard. It'd be great to have like virtual environments to try out, sheetrocking a wall or something so they could really do it hands on and then not affect an actual client's project or something. But
Yeah,
that's more
that's good.
virtual reality.
Uh, what's something that we haven't talked about yet today that gets you pretty excited or fired up? You could be business principles, something personal, lesson you've learned, family, faith, anything's,
I
you
think
know.
being community driven is really important. I think any firm, any company of any kind, the one advice I got early on in my career was to volunteer in things that I felt really passionately about, and that the work would follow. So I would work alongside like-minded people in volunteer positions, and then those people would become contacts for future, you know, work. And it has worked out that way really well. So I guess my advice to everyone is to try to give back to your community as much as you can because it actually really does benefit you, not just from the feel good part, but people will chip in. I was part of a women's group when I first started the company, a women's networking group. And when I got laid off and started my company, those women rallied around me so hard, found me all kinds of weird little jobs to do because they were the community I had built. So I think it's really important, when times are a little wiggly to, don't everybody go home to your house and play video games all night by yourself. Try to get out and meet people and stay social because that's really important to keeping not only your mental health, but your workflow coming in the door. I think that's been,
Yeah,
true for my whole 25 years.
that's great. Jennifer, if people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
Well, my website's Wetterman.com, so that's really easy. Just 2 D's, 2 N's. And Moral Compass side is just moralcompass.llc. Those are probably the 2 easiest places. And always feel free to drop me a line through the website or my email is just jennifer@wetterman.com. Pretty easy to remember. So,
That's awesome. We'll look forward. Hopefully, whenever you finish the house with the shipping containers, we could post that in the show notes. So that'd be really cool for everybody to see.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Don't go anywhere because I want to chop it up with you. But thank you guys, or thank you so much for coming on the show. Hey guys, go check out Jennifer and her 2 companies, Moral Compass and Wedderman Architecture. She's doing some pretty cool, innovative things. And stay tuned up for the next episodes where we're going to talk to a few more builders and continue to kind of grow this podcast. So Jennifer, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.